Chapter 10. What does Jinan plan to do? San Shimu lit a cigar and slowly leaned back into his chair. What do you think I should do? The door was pushed open and an impeccably handsome young man walked in, followed by his manager. He sat down on the double sofa and continued. Which newspaper would dare publish such an article without your consent, San Shimu? The manager dripped cold sweat. What was the intent behind the boss's actions? Was he bored of playing with Ojinan, so he wanted to ruin him? Such a sick rich man. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but look at Ojinan with sympathy. San Shimu was indeed guilty as charged, but he had to do it. Otherwise, there'd always be a sense of fear and uncertainty in his heart. He wanted to tell everyone in the world, Ojinan is mine, you can't covet him. He couldn't stand seeing everyone's fanatical gaze, couldn't stand having people clamor after him wherever he went. Couldn't stand the online mob crying and screaming to have his babies. Every moment of the day he lived in panic and torment. He only felt a moment of peace when they were deeply entangled. He never wanted to pull out from him. He just wanted to be one with him forever. This way, he couldn't suddenly disappear. He couldn't go somewhere he couldn't follow. But these crazy thoughts, San Shimu couldn't share them with Ojinan. So when he received a call from the newspaper, for a reason he couldn't explain, he let it go. Now he was restlessly awaiting his lover's decision. You can handle it any way you want. He walked over to the sofa and stopped to put his arm around his lover's shoulders. Zhu-Yunsheng expressionlessly looked up at him, waiting for his forehead to be covered in guilty cold sweat before slowly opening. I want to hold a press conference to come out of the closet. Prepare it. Out of the closet? With who? San Shimu's voice was hoarse. You're asking with who? Are you brave enough to announce our relationship? If not, I'll come out by myself, then go abroad to spread my wings. I don't want a market in sea country. Ojinan gave a contemptuous smile. Li and the manager looked at their boss, dripping with cold sweat. This proposal was too fucking bold. Their hearts were about to explode. The boss would never agree. A performing artist coming out of the closet was nothing. A financial giant coming out of the closet would shake up the stock of all the companies under the Sun Clan, implicating billions of dollars. While the two looked on in disbelief, San Shimu unexpectedly smiled. His smile was relaxed and delighted. He took out a black velvet box from his suit pocket and handed it to the young man. Zhu-Yunsheng also didn't make a fuss. He opened the lid and put the pair of rings on their ring fingers. Do you want me to kneel and propose? San Shimu pulled his tie and earnestly asked. If you're willing. Zhu-Yunsheng looked at him and smiled. San Shimu immediately knelt down, taking hold of his lover's left hand. He kissed the back of it, pious and gentle. The love overflowing from his eyes was suffocating. Li and the manager couldn't stand it and hurriedly fled. That afternoon, at a 5-star hotel owned by the Sun Clan, Ojinan held a press conference. He and San Shimu sat down side by side, wearing the same style of silver-gray suit, hair meticulously groomed. They looked radiant. No one dared to pull San Shimu's whiskers, so the reporters' questions were very restrained. When someone asked about the authenticity of the photo, Zhu-Yunsheng nodded at the microphone. The photo was real. I like men. Somewhere, some people cursed in front of the TV screen. Some cried, others felt depressed, but no one could stop him from continuing his speech. Moreover, my lover is sitting right next to me. He openly placed their clasped hands on top of the table, smiling a satisfied and tender smile. When I was most helpless, when I was depressed and desperate, when I was abandoned by everyone I loved, only he stood by my side and gave me selfless help. In this world, I can't trust anyone except him. I can't love anyone else but him. There were no unspoken rules, no exchanges of interest or coercion between us. We are truly in love. In front of the TVs, the audience venting their dissatisfaction suddenly quieted. They remembered the desperate situation Ojinan had been in before. If not for Sanchimu, wouldn't he have been ruined beyond repair? When he thought about it, he really had no reason to not love Sanchimu. Sanchimu's heart trembled. It jumped wildly, his chest almost exploding in great joy, but his face only carried a faint smile. He embraced the youth and printed a kiss on his forehead. Then he spoke slowly, enunciating each word. Yes, we're truly in love, and we're planning to get married. We don't need anyone's approval or blessing. This is the end of today's press conference. Goodbye. He pulled the young man up and strode away, leaving behind him the blinding flashes of cameras. The scenes of the tall man kissing the slim youth in his arms and kissing him The scene of the tall man taking the slim youth into his arms and kissing him was so beautiful and warm that people couldn't bear to disturb it. Online, the tidal wave of opposition suddenly died down. No one had anything else to add. But the relatively conservative environment in Sea Country made Yun Sheng feel very uncomfortable, so he decided to go to A Country to expand. The acceptance of homosexuality in their entertainment industry was quite high, so it wouldn't become an obstacle to his career. The fans in Sea Country complained again and again when they heard the news, saying that all those homophobes were to blame for this. Loving a man or a woman was a person's freedom. Why did they want to interfere in other people's lives? Why criticize them? If not for those irrational attacks, the idol would have never fled to a faraway land, discouraged. Soon, news broke out that Giming Shu's team were responsible for posting the photo online. The purpose was to clear her reputation by discrediting Oji Nan. The news brought disaster for Giming Shu. Her barely recovering singing career suffered an unprecedented blow. The sales for the new album was only in the hundreds, a small performance, and the netizens gave her a new nickname, Scheming Bitch. It was also revealed that she was really the one who played the unspoken rules. She maintained very improper relationships with both Yun Shiyuan and Lin Qiqing, which was why she could quickly climb to stardom. Then intimate photos of her and the two men were attached to the post. The photos were quite R-rated. There was French kissing, photos in bed, and one particularly eye-catching photo was of her and Lin Qiqing making love in a bathtub. Faced with Yun Qizhuan's interrogation, Jie Shu practically went mad. She quickly called Lin Qiqing in E Country to make him clarify the situation. Lin Qiqing's life was now very miserable. Perhaps because of his poor psychological state, he not only didn't clarify, he even admitted it, causing Yun Shiyuan to be extremely furious. Even when the technicians later identified the photo as falsified, Yan Shiyuan refused to trust Giming Shu again, concluding that she was a two-timing tramp. He ended his relationship with Giming Shu, cancelled her resources, and quickly got engaged to a young lady with a similar familial status. Without the male lead and the second male lead's devoted support, and with her thoroughly tarnished reputation, Kim Shu could no longer reach the heights she could have reached in the original plot. She became a struggling D-list celebrity, and in order to support herself, she took roles in many vulgar variety shows, completely sinking into obscurity. In June of the same year, the World Cup was held in B country, and Oh Jinan was invited to be the guest of honor performing the grand finale. In the non-stop spray of fireworks, the youth painted in seductive smoky makeup slowly rose to the center of the stage. He was wearing a skin-tight jacket and black leather pants, showcasing his thin but explosive body. His hair was completely slicked back, revealing facial contours that appeared incomparably deep, even in the West, and pink lips completely painted white, looking like a block of ice-cold metal. He was so handsome, like lightning, like a flame, that his voice was like the sound of thunder, formidable. He waved, and thousands of people waved with him. He danced, and thousands of people danced with him. He shouted, and tens of thousands of people returned his cry. He raised his hands to the beat, and the whole venue erupted in deafening applause. Satisfied, he moved his finger to his lips, motioning for everyone to quiet down. Immediately, a pin drop could be heard in the stadium. He was the master of them all. No one could resist his singing charm. The camera followed him, projected his unmatched beauty on the huge screen. Some people wept, some screamed, some were unable to bear it, fainting, then carried out by the well-trained staff to the ambulance waiting outside the venue. Because of Ojinan's contribution, the opening ceremony of this World Cup became the most intense and sensational event of all times. His fans were spread across the continents, with different skin colors and speaking different languages. The cameras that were not pointing at the stage panned over the crowd, focusing on random audience members. Whoever was chosen shouted, "Ojinan, I love you," to the camera. Even B Country's president, sitting in the VIP lounge, couldn't help but stand up, sambaying to the beat, then blowing a kiss towards the man on the stage. After leaving Sea Country, Ojinan didn't sink into obscurity like some music critics had predicted. He not only stood firm, he became a well-deserved international superstar. Those who were once held up as legendary musicians by his father now fawned over him wherever they went, hoping that he could one day write them a song or two when he was in a good mood. Lin Chiqing lived in E Country for more than half a year. His cash had already run out, so he could only move out from his luxurious apartment to a small single room. Due to his damaged reputation, all the advertisers cancelled their contracts, and he was asked to pay them a huge amount of compensation. He sold his luxury car and mansion to finally put enough money together. Now he was sitting in front of the TV, staring blankly at the brilliant shining young man on the screen. He watched him skillfully manipulate the audience's mood, watched him hit high notes with abandon, watched him drive everyone to madness, watched him step off the stage and embrace San Chimu, who walked over to welcome him and give him a passionate kiss. The 2,000 people in the stadium simultaneously sent their blessing, making the young man widen his eyes and laugh. Lin Qiqing laughed along with him, then he covered his face and wept bitterly.